Hey everybody, this is Mia with Project Nerd. We are partnering with the Colorado Festival Productions. I'll get that eventually. I'll get that at some point. Just tongue-tied. I'm here with Roo Smith, the director of Grateful, and Isaac Johnston Story.
Hello. Nice. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Mia. It's great to meet you, and yeah, excited to be here.
Absolutely. So initially, when I was looking at everything, I thought this was like the equivalent of an autobiography for yourself. And then I was like, oh no, that's not what's happening here. So my series of questions changed when I realized what's going on.
Nice. Yeah. A little different. I made this story about Isaac Johnston, who's a photographer. But yeah, no, we can jump into some questions, or I can give you an overview, whatever you want to do.
This is your first project. How nervous, excited, like what was your feeling when it came to your first project?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was, I was definitely really excited. I'd done a lot of film projects like kind of through school, and I started basically making like, silly little surf films or skateboard films when I was in high school and middle school. So I definitely like had a lot of experience behind a camera, and so I'd done smaller projects, but this was kind of my first bigger one that I submitted to film festivals and, kind of did a little tour with. But I was really excited. I basically reached out to this photographer, Isaac Johnston, who is a producer and photographer himself. And he produces for like a pretty well-established adventure photographer named Alex Stroll. And I admired both Alex and Isaac and their work. And I really admired them both for their approach to the industry of just being really intentional about creating, a life for themselves that's surrounded by their passion and what they love to do. And I thought, what better for a first project than to, go film somebody and go film the story about somebody I admire. So that was kind of where it all birthed from. But I was definitely really excited and was looking forward to it. Driving, it was like a 15-hour drive out to Montana, but it was good.
Good. I have been to Montana. It was a visual album that I went and did it for. It is beautiful up there. It's stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. So in the film, it looked more like you were there during spring, summer, maybe fall time. I don't remember winter. I went up during winter though. So I want to know what your experience was like versus my experience.
Totally. Yeah, no, I was there in the fall. I was there in September. Okay. So it still felt pretty summery. Like there was a lot of green out, and I was actually shocked. That was my first time in Montana. I was shocked by just like the sheer amount of water, because I'm from Colorado and we have like, very beautiful mountains and a lot of hiking and things like that. But we don't have just like massive lakes in the same way that this town in Montana, kind of near Whitefish, where Isaac is from. And so, I just like drove up and there's just this massive lake, felt like the ocean. And I was like, it's incredible. It was a pretty beautiful place for sure.
I lived in Colorado for a short time, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Nice.
It feels as landlocked as it looks because there's no larger bodies of water.
Yeah, I'm originally from a small island off of Washington State and grew up surfing. And so like the water is just like
Orcas
a huge
Island?
Orcas. Yeah.
Orcas. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Spelled Orca, ORCAS, pronounced Orcas. But so originally from there and loved just like being around water. And then, moved to Colorado, and now I'm just like thirsty all the time and it's so dry, and I'm just like trying to get back to the ocean as much as I can while still enjoying the mountains. But no, I'm definitely happy here, but going to Montana and seeing all that water was great. Yeah. Elevation it's different up here. Yeah.
Do you surf then? Are you also a surfer?
I am a surfer. Yeah. So I did surf a lot growing up, and just the outdoors was like a really big part of my life. We went camping a lot as a family, and did a lot of trips kind of abroad to Latin America. And so, it was, I went to high school in Costa Rica and in Wales in the UK. And so like kind of traveled a lot, and definitely all in those coastal areas where surfing was a big part of the culture. So moved to the only really landlocked state that I could, and now I'm just like, why did I do this? But no, I'm happy here. I'm snowboarding and rock climbing and trail running and doing all that sort of stuff. So definitely still good outdoor things to be had out here for sure.
Definitely trying to stay active, so I know you've worked with Indigenous communities in Peru and Ecuador. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, that was great. Basically, I was working for a company called Wilderness Adventures. and we went to kind of the Sacred Valley in Peru and some other areas in Ecuador as well. And yeah, it was amazing. It was really cool. There was one town that we went to that was like very, very much led by like the women in the community. So they were like, not just like, I don't know what women are stereotypically looked at in smaller towns of just like, oh, they cook, but they were like, it was so amazing just seeing this whole society like respect and love women. I'm the youngest of 4 children, and I have 3 older sisters, and I was raised by my mom. And so like, I've always like really admired like women in my life and seeing women leaders and yeah. So seeing this like, women empowerment in that area too, especially in Latin America, sometimes women empowerment is not as evident. And so going to those communities was like, yeah, definitely really impactful, and definitely feel very grateful. I guess grateful is a theme here after making the film Grateful. I'm feeling grateful for this, but yeah, that was a pretty amazing experience for sure.
Of all the places that you lived, which was actually your favorite?
That's a tough question.
Is it?
It is actually, yeah. I've lived in a lot of great places. I would say right now, so I'm in Boulder, Colorado right now. And I'm definitely very happy here. I say that Boulder is probably right now for where I'm at in my life. Like it's the place where I feel the easiest to be happy. I feel like I can just be myself and be happy here, going on runs, meeting people. I moved here during COVID, so it was like a little interesting trying to meet people, but now I'm fully vaccinated and able to kind of get out and meet people in my industry and friends and peers and stuff. So yeah, it's all, yeah, it's coming to an end. We're on the tail end of it here. Yeah, but I would say Boulder, but yeah, Orcas Island is also a pretty special place.
Do you travel back often?
I try to, yeah. I'm now trying to get more work out there, like in Washington State. And so like people can pay me to go back as opposed to me paying to go back, which is kind of a nice little hack around it. But Washington, yeah, it's just such a beautiful place. And my mom's still out there, and my sister, she just moved back, and she's pregnant and due in like 3 weeks, which is really exciting. So I'm going to be an uncle for the first time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
That's absolutely adorable. So, okay, so my next question is, you've made other films at 14,000 feet in the air?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just to
survive that.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah, so just being in Colorado, like a lot of like Boulder, I don't know the exact altitude of Boulder. It's like 5,500 or something. But a lot of the mountains out here, there's like 50 something peaks at over 14,000 feet. And so just a lot of like the adventure travel stuff that I do, I kind of specialize in like that adventure industry, outdoor industry. And so making films of people doing kind of hard things in the outdoors is where I kind of try to specialize. And so, yeah, that's kind of what brings me up to that elevation often is like, I don't know, backcountry ski videos or whatever. I'm currently wrapping up a project about a mountain guide here in Colorado who's training to get his international mountain guiding certification, which is pretty fascinating. It's been a really cool process, but I've kind of been following him on a lot of those adventures, like up to 14,000 feet and above sometimes. But yeah, it's been cool.
Do you have like a bucket list of adventure film stuff that you've got going on?
Yeah, I try to keep like stories in my head a lot of things that I've heard that I think would make a really good film. So I get a lot of inspiration from like podcasts or magazines. I love magazines. And so like there's always really cool stories and photos in there, and taking it one step farther and saying like, hey, like I read this in a magazine. I'd love to tell your story about whatever you're doing. So there was another project that I'm filming now about this group of high school students here in Colorado, in this really small mountain town in Colorado, that built a giant canoe, like a 50-foot canoe, and are racing it like 70 miles in the ocean in Washington. So like small mountain kids going to the ocean for the first time and racing this giant canoe. And I heard about that story from a podcast. So trying to like keep stories in my head, but making a list is like, yeah, I got a fair share of things on that list.
Building.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can't check things off fast enough for sure.
What was the most important thing or your favorite thing that you learned from this particular project?
From Grateful? That's a good question. I think it was yeah, I think it was just hearing Isaac talk at the very end of the film. He says this line that he's like, no matter, you know, what happens, like, I just feel so grateful to have worked with who I've worked with and done what I've done, that if I had to get a real job tomorrow and this all ends, like, I'm just grateful for the time that I've had. And hearing somebody that's at his stage in his career doing things that I really admire, like traveling all over the world to do what he's doing. I just thought that was really special and really cool. If instead of thinking of, you know, escaping the 9-to-5 as like, you know, the goal, and if you like can't do it, you're a failure. Like, I thought that was really interesting to just hear, like, no, I'm just so grateful that I like get to spend time with my family this way, and I get to work with who I work with and do what I do. And so, yeah, I think there were a lot of like tiny little lessons that I learned from him, but that for whatever reason just sticks in my head of like, oh, just be grateful for what you get to do, because I just feel so grateful for myself as well. Like being able to tell the stories that I tell and being able to use my skill sets as, you know, giving back into the world and telling uplifting and meaningful stories. I think there are some people that are great at telling those like hard hitting, interesting, like really tough, hard to swallow stories. And yeah. I'm not really that person. As you can tell, I smile a lot and I like to keep things lighthearted. And so like having those meaningful, uplifting stories is where I try to focus on. So like, yeah, that definitely stuck with me and rang with me a lot.
That makes like, I have watched it, but now I feel like I need to go watch it again just to embrace that part of your storytelling, which, by the way, your videography for it, it's just so beautiful to look at. It is such a gorgeous piece of art to view. And I needed to make sure I told you that. I was watching the whole time. I was like, wow, that's really pretty.
Thanks so much. No, yeah, it's you know, it's lighting in Montana. It's just like put the lighting right and put it on Montana, and Isaac will do the work. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. So here's my fun question.
I'm ready.
What genre of music would be your background music for your life? Or if you just have a particular artist or song?
For sure. Well, this is a tough question. Well, a not tough question, actually, because I am a musician and I minored in music in college and I do a lot of singing and songwriting and stuff. So I would just say like the singer-songwriter genre, kind of just like little boppy, little poppy, but also pretty laid back and like, yeah, nice little acoustic guitar and some piano. And that's the soundtrack to Roo, I think. Yeah.
Yes,
That's a good question though. What about you? Do you have a soundtrack? I'm just going to reverse this straight on you. I know this is maybe putting me in the spotlight, but I want to hear what your answer is.
No one ever asked me that. I gravitate to slower, more sensual style music. So I think like a dramatic walk-in type of music, but not in a overly powerful way, like a subtly powerful way. Like I'm not trying to smack people with my presence. I'm trying to engage them with it instead.
Nice.
So I think it would be more something like that would be
nice. Like an Olivia Rodrigo kind of power ballad. Do you know her? She sang Driver's License, Deja Vu.
It would be a little more soulful than that. Think Tannerelle or Alina Baraz or Sabrina Claudio, and one of my favorite artists is Lucky Day. Like that.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I love it.
That'd be me.
Super cool.
Thank you. Now, where can we find you and where can we find the film?
Yeah, for sure. So you can just find me on my website, roosmith.com, roosmith.com. My Instagram is roosmith6. I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram, so sometimes I just won't post for a while. Sometimes I'll be really on it. So kind of depends there. And then, yeah, watching the film, it's wrapping up. This is the last film festival. It's one film festival away now. So about 2 weeks at the end of May, it should be up on my website and ready to view. So check it out there, roosmith.com or roosmith6 on Instagram, and you'll see it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much, Mia. It was great talking to you, and I appreciate you doing this kind of stuff. This is great.